Is Wolf Kolb. I'm the Managing Director of Tulip Interfaces in Germany. Today we will talk about the digital machine shop, and we'll in particular look at what the digital shop is. We'll talk about different use cases, outcomes, reasons on why you should start and kick off the digitization, and we'll look at a couple of things that we have seen in the last couple of months with our customer base. To talk with this about this topic is Damir Hrnjadovic. He is the Managing Director of the DMG Digital GmbH. Damir, can you please introduce yourself?
Hello, thanks. Yes, Damir Hrnjadovic is my name. I'm the Managing Director of DMG Mori Digital. And we are supporting our customers worldwide into the start of digitization. So we're doing typically with our customers consulting, showing them where potentials are based on digitization, are implementing with the customers our different solutions like Tulip. And at the end, we're also teaching and qualifying the employees at our customers so they're able to digitize the processes on their own in the, let's say, in the next steps.
Awesome. So we have been together spending like many months on the road. We have traveled many kilometers, and I would like to hear from you. What is your what is your current take on the status of digitization? What do you see in your customer base, and how do you perceive the current situation right now?
Yes. So for me, it was pretty interesting when we started to travel together to the customers and really go into the shop floors and assembly lines and all the things, because I mean, in our everyday life, we're used to use our smartphones and have the apps for everything. But when we go into the shop floors, typically like traveling back in time. So because the medium which is most used on the shop floors is paper. So most of our customers use paper to instruct operators, to collect data, to do quality checks, and so on. So it's like traveling back in time, and this is also what customers have the feeling. So this is like a customer statement. And because we use so much paper, I have the feeling that there's so much unused opportunities on the shop floor. Opportunities maybe from points where we lose productivity, points where we have a lot of failure rates, points in production lines where we could maybe save money. And this is getting more and more important also in the next years, because we have a global competition between companies. So it's important to know where you can save money, where you can be more productive. And the problem for most of the companies is, of course, they know digitization is important, but digitization is evolving so fast. And if you want to digitize processes, then you often need IT experts. And most of our, especially SME customers, they don't have so many IT experts. They're expensive. It's hard to find them. And also, if they're doing digitization projects, or the typical digitization projects like rolling out an ERP system, it takes a year and costs a lot of money. So there are a lot of problems in this field. And
so basically digitization has not really come to the shop floor yet. So you see that they have some core systems to make companies work, but
right.
But to really say that you don't see computers today on the shop floor.
Yeah, you typically don't see computers, or most of the companies you don't see computers today. Or maybe let's say you see computers, but they could be used much more. Much more. There's a big field where digitization could be more on shop floors.
Yeah. So digitization means like creating transparency and giving people the right information at the right time. What is like typical information where you think that are not available on the shop floor today? What are we missing?
This also, I said a couple of minutes ago. So just imagine, we have on our smartphones apps for everything. We have, let's say, football live ticker. You know the result in real time for every football game worldwide. So, but we don't know what is happening on the shop floor right now. So how many, let's say, how many parts were missing in the last 2 hours? So how often did we have rework? So it is crazy. And it's because we are using most of the times paper to collect data. And often when I talk to customers, then it's this typical sentence, oh, I've got the feeling that we don't have so much rework. I got the feeling that this and that is happening. And the interesting thing is when we start to introduce a digital solution like Tulip and we start to collect data, then we suddenly find out that the reality is completely different, that they have much more rework, much more problems, and they never have been aware of because they never knew, because they collected the data on the paper, but no one looked ever on it. And so there, I would say there is barely process visibility on the shop floors, on the most shop floors today.
What about when it comes to like, how do you collect the knowledge of your employees? Where do you see an opportunity there to make sure that you surface all the knowledge that people have in their head and put it in some sort of a digital tool?
So let's maybe, I'll tell you a bit a story, what I see on the shop floors today. So most of the companies start to collect somehow data or to guide their operators based on paper, but no one is looking at the paper. So there is really information, there is really knowledge somehow on this paper. Let's say an operator wrote down that, again, there was a problem, but no one is looking at it because it's really, it takes a lot of time to analyze all the information which is on paper and transfer it then into analytics and then maybe to optimize our processes at the end. So, and this is kind of what makes Tulip so interesting, because let's imagine you have the data digitally collected and you provide your operator knowledge digitally collected digitally. Then you can let the Tulip automatically analyze it, and then without much work, you have analytics and you see, oh, in the last 3 hours, I have 50 times a tool was missing or something was missing. So
these digital work instructions, they allow you to like collect and standardize work procedures in a very easy digestible way. Kind of the way what you described is like where somebody has handwritten notes, they add some information, and we can collect this information and turn this into like a standardized operating procedures. And the beautiful thing is that we can actually let the process expert do this. Do you see this happening on the shop floor? What do you think about that?
So until now, I did not see it, and this is also the interesting thing, because we've been also together visiting a customer. It was in Switzerland, and they started to digitize the processes on their own because they saw this opportunity and they saw huge potentials. And who's typically creating software? These are IT experts, so they may be really good in building some IT applications. But what we saw there was that they created apps or software to guide the operators, to give them information, but the software wasn't fitting to the, let's say, to the operator's process. So what happened there? No one was using this software because the operator said, well, I'm not working like this IT guy thought I would be. And then, I mean, the next thing would be to say, okay, then please change it. Okay, but if you have only one IT guy who's responsible for all these IT fields in your company, then it's hard to reach them, and then you could be pretty sure that this guy is somewhere in another project working on that. So you need to wait, let's say, 5-6 months until he maybe just adds a button or change the text or change the process. So you're losing a lot of time, because you, as a process engineer who has a valuable knowledge into the processes, you're not able to change the software, to adapt it to your processes. And this is all really sad to see, that there is kind of unused knowledge and unused opportunities, and that we cannot transfer this valuable process knowledge to help really the operators which are working every day on the assembly line or on the machine or whatever, because we always need an IT expert.
Yeah, very well said. So we talked now about kind of the interface between kind of like digitizing the human aspect from this. In a factory, we also have lots of machines. How can machine data, machine monitoring add value to this?
Okay. So I think the important thing is not only to focus not only on the machines, because there's so much valuable data also from the operators, also from sensors. And I think this is a really interesting thing because you have to focus kind of on all, let's say, data sources. So operators are typing in when you have to do rework, when the tool is missing. On the other hand, maybe you have interesting sensor data like humidity, like temperature, like vibrations, whatever. And at the end also, you could also connect your machines and collect data. So let's say machine is standing still. You want to know the reason. Why is it standing still? How long was it standing still? How productive is every machine? And that's why, you need to look at all these data sources. And the good thing is that, or the best thing would be, is to connect everything maybe in one place. And then just imagine you see, maybe let's say the quality of a product is better if you produce this product on machine A with NC code B than if you have another combination. So if you would know that, then you would do the same thing all the time. This is why it's so important not to focus only on machines, but on all these data sources there.
I would like put it this way. It's kind of like a manufacturing process consists of like there are machine operations and then there are humans involved. And if you really want to understand and optimize these complex processes, we need to be able to tap into the different data sources when we need it. And that's why we need like a flexible platform that allows us to like combine human input with machine input so that we can follow the product at the end, what we want to produce.
Right. And even if you have, just think about customers who are really high optimization, where maybe operators are not working all the time on the machines. I mean, still there are manual processes before and after this machining process where you need to collect. We need also to collect data, or you should collect, because there are maybe potentials to optimize the processes. So I think there's doesn't matter how high the optimization is there. You should always not forget the most valuable resource in your company, and these are your operators with their knowledge.
Definitely. So in your business, you connect also machines. Can you give us like a kind of like a broad overview about the different services that you offer, and what if we come to you, what problems can you solve for us?
Yes. So machine connectivity is one of the most important things that we do in field of digitization, because I think the machine connectivity and the exchange of data between software and machine is an enabler for really important services in the future. And we have, let's say, different solutions how to collect data from machines. Maybe the most or the easiest thing would be create a user interface for the operator, which is using the machine, and let him type in the data. So let's say I produce a part on a machine, he can type it in. I produce a part, the quality is good, or the quality is not good, and then to count how often things are happening. This would be, let's say, the easiest way. Second thing would be really to connect the machine over this typical machine interfaces like OPC way, MT Connect, OPC way, and you could do this. What's also important, not only to do this with DMG Mori machines, you have to do this also with third-party machines, because the machine shops the machines which are standing there are heterogeneous, and our customers don't only have, let's say, drilling and milling machines, they have also some other machine which we don't have. So this is the second thing. And the third thing would be maybe to go over, let's say, software interfaces, or if you have a really old machine without any digital sensor, the good thing is, we could let's say re-equip it with digital sensors and connect them to Tulip. So let's say temperature sensor, humidity sensor, vibration sensor, and then start to collect data from this analog old machine, still start to collect digital data. and then transform it automatically into analytics.
So customers today, independent of the types of machines and machine manufacturers and age of the machines, they should not be afraid of digitization. You have you have options from legacy machines, from new machines, from like fully up-to-date machines to old machines. You guys, you know how to connect them and get them, bring them into the online world.
Right. So what I always say to customers, they're kind of, if there's always a way, there's always a way to find a solution. It's only the answer, which way are we going together, and it's always maybe a question of how much time does it take to create a solution. So to equip it with a sensor, of course, it may be a bit more complicated than just to use the OPCOA interface, because all the sensors are already in the machine. But there's always a solution.
Yeah. So when we talk to customers, we have on the one hand side, we have the shop floor, where which we covered now. We talked about the integrations, like on how we can collect data from humans and machines, but there are also like other software systems. What do you offer in terms of like integration to other systems? Is that possible? When would you recommend to do this? And what do you hear from the market?
So maybe let's start with the first and the last point you asked. So of course, we are helping our customers to connect the different systems which they have with software interfaces. And this is really, really important for most of our customers, because most of the customers are already using some IT systems. Yeah, still it's like traveling back in time, and digitization, we still need to go a lot of steps, but most of the customers are using an ERP system. And ERP system is typically at the moment, let's say, a monolith. So kind of it's a system which is not connected to others most of the times, and it would not make sense to create, let's say, again, Tulip, which is not connected to other systems. So we would do the same mistakes. So this is really important. Let's say if we create with Tulip work instructions where operators could also report rework or missing parts, then our customers want us to send this data to the ERP system, and the ERP system makes the calculations and so on. So, and we are helping our customers because I think it is important to build bridges between the different systems, and especially to build, and this is what we're typically doing with Tulip, to build a bridge to the operator. Because just think about the operator's life. Let's imagine someone is assembling all the day, he's assembling a spindle, and then he needs a list of parts, he needs to go to the ERP system. He needs a drawing, he needs to go to the drawing system. He needs to type in data into the quality management, so he needs to go to this quality management system. So it's really hard for him because he has so many different points where he has to pull out information or he has to give information back. And now imagine having one user interface, and with one click he could access to the drawing. One click he could access the list of parts, and with one click he could send back the information to all the system. So this would make the operator's life much easier.
Yeah,
it would decrease the failure rates, or maybe because the more systems you use, the more mistakes you can make. And this is kind of this is really important for our customers. But I always say, when we start to digitize processes, our customers start as easy as possible. Go really small steps. You can start without ERP integration. You can start really with Tulip, start with your applications, and then if we start to connect it with your ERP system, then you maybe only pull data, show the operator, and then in the next step, you send again data to ERP system, and then you have the full integration. And this is really nice because you can be agile and go really the small steps and make it bigger, more complex, and create more and more apps. This is really nice.
I think that's a very, very important point, that like digitization is not, it's not a one-off project where you define like a long list of requirements and then go away for a year and come back with a certain solution. It's an ongoing process, and this ongoing process requires that you have like a flexible IT infrastructure that allows you to change your process, to amend them continuously, because you will figure out over time what you need. You don't know often today where the market is going, how your processes are changing when you introduce new manufacturing technologies. And to have like an open and flexible system is, like, from my perspective, key to any IT strategy, to make sure that you stay adaptable, especially in a times like today where we have lots of uncertainty.
Right, right. And also what you mentioned, the flexibility is really important, because let's say as a result, because we're using so much paper, and as a result of our gut feeling, we don't know really where the problems are. We think, but we don't know. So maybe just a comparison, what happened at DMG Mori, because we're using Tulip in all our European plants already. So when we started, we rolled out Tulip in our spindle line assembly, and the first idea was, great, let's create work instructions with videos and guide operators step by step. And then we talked at first to the operators, and they told us, oh, we don't need this because we know the processes, but please digitize this quality checklist. We're going crazy because there are points on English, German for different spindle types. And then, okay, we created this digital quality checklist, but then we found out so we didn't need it. We didn't need it because we found out the operators are assembling really fast, but we found out that we have had a lot of rework based on a process which was before the spindle line assembly. So we needed, therefore, this was the kind of the source of the mistakes happening on the spindle line assembly, was a process before. So we needed for this process before an application. And because of Tulip, we had the flexibility to say, okay, we're going to this process before and improve that and reduce the failure rates there, and then checked it with the data we collected on the spindle line. And because of this flexibility, we needed only one solution, Tulip, because we created our apps for the different problems, and not like, oh, we have one solution, we bought it, it is a software, find out, oh, this was a wrong one, but we have it now. Okay, again, we need to buy another one. And this is really important, because you will often find out that maybe your first idea wasn't the best. And the good thing is that Tulip, you have the flexibility to go to and start with the next idea.
It's amazing that you say that, because I noticed that in our customer base, there's a very important moment that takes place in our customers' perception. And this is when they change their perception from looking at a software system as a closed system to like actually seeing like a toolbox that is open, flexible, and they start using it as a toolbox. And a tool is something that you where you see a problem, you change it, you adapt it, you try to figure out, you start experimenting, you're figuring out basically an agile approach on how you build your stuff, and you test it in reality, in kind of like where the real problem is. So that's what you described. So like all the learnings you do, you get from applying a system in a real life setting, and then seeing what actually the data tell you, and then reiterate and rebuild. And that's amazing.
Yeah. So once customers, or once we realized it at DMG Mori, what the possibilities are, our operators, our employees have 1,000 ideas, because they know where the problems are. They have so many ideas. And at the beginning, they're sometimes afraid, because they think, oh, this will be a huge process to digitize it. But when they start to do it on their own, and they see it, oh, I can have the first version in 1 or 2 days, and then I can start to use it. And then I find out, oh, I need another function, or this and that I need. They start really to create a lot of apps on their own, and to develop, to involve them. So we started in mid of October last year to roll it out in our plants. And today we have more than 60 applications which we're using every day in our operations. So which means we have 60 live apps, but we created still a lot of more applications. So we created, after the first training, which took us 3 days, we created 30 apps. And of these 30, of course, some of them were not so good as we thought. So we left them behind, and then started to create new applications. And this is really really nice to see.
It's like I joined a call with the DMG Mori team a couple of days ago, and there was a very a discussion among the different sites, and they were presenting their applications and teaching each other on how they have solved problems, and they were like exchanging these applications and asked them, can you please copy your app to my instance, and how can we do this? And it was amazing to see where we were like in a community of process and manufacturing experts, like the people who really have the knowledge about the process, and who are not only hold the knowledge but are also responsible for it, right? They need to produce, and they need to deliver the results, and to see that we are able to turn these people into like software engineers by giving them the right tool. That was like, for me, like something that fascinated me a lot.
Yeah, it was also also nice for our IT department, because these guys started to digitize the processes on their own, and when they needed to change a button or something like that, they're not bothering our IT guys all the time. So they have more time to focus on the big projects, like starting the new ERP system, which will take us a couple of years. And we are really, what you're telling is really, we are really proud about this community, which we started in November, because it's so nice to see that an operator, an employee from Poland is sharing his idea or his solution he created there in their processes, and then our operators in Fronten see it and say, oh, great, we have another process, but this solution, this template which you created, this app template, is nice. We will take it and we will adapt it to our processes, and they can do it. They can do it really fast, and then we have the next app in a couple of days. They start to use it. They see directly which impact it has on their process. If it has a good impact, then you continue. If it doesn't have, you leave it. You just spend 1 or 2 days on it, and this is unbelievable.
We describe now an IT infrastructure that is not only flexible, but it's also open, and open in terms of that it can connect to like all sorts of like other systems via like SQL or HTTP connectors. But like, why do you think openness and flexibility is important if talking to DMG Mori customers?
So, well, it's like in our own operations. Shop floor processes are unique. This is also the hard thing, and this is also why you cannot roll out standardized software, because every production process is unique. You have unique hardware, a mix of unique hardware, unique software which you're using. So therefore, you need this openness, because you want to connect all these different parts. Because let's say openness means that you're able to do whatever you want. It's like freedom, and no boundaries for solutions you have in mind. And this is why openness is important. It could also be now, just imagine what is happening now during this Corona crisis. Processes are changing. Let's say our everyday working life is changing. Suddenly, half of your colleagues are not working with you because they are working in a second shift, and it's forbidden kind of that you meet them, because if there's a Corona infection, then the whole company is standing still. Or a company started to produce, let's say, this face masks or whatever, change the processes and so on. Then suddenly maybe have new software which you want to integrate into your processes. So therefore, you need to be more and more agile and flexible, and have this flexibility. And this is what openness means for me. Openness is for me equal to flexibility, and this is getting more and more important, because product life cycles are getting shorter and shorter, and we don't know what will be in the next 2 years. So therefore, flexibility and openness is really important.
That's awesome. Very well said. So after this, your customers now listen to this conversation and say, like, Damir is right. how should they start and how do they get on their digitization journey? What would be a step and what would you recommend based on the experience, based on your experience?
So the best thing would be that they call the DMG Mori digital. This would be, of course, the best. So we can exchange. No, but I think a lot of companies already know where the problems are. They have already first ideas. So this is always the best starting point. And if they don't have it already in mind, I would always recommend to start where you see the paper. So where you use paper, this is the best thing. So just imagine, instead of having a paper-based instruction, to have a digital one. And suddenly the operator cannot forget to do a step because this digital app will remind him, oh, you cannot do the fourth step until you finish the third step. Or let's say to digitize a quality protocol. Yeah, suddenly you have just buttons and click on it, and Tulip is creating analytics, how often you
Kind of like
have quality
small,
issues.
distinct, solve small real-time problems.
Yes, yeah, right. Start as easy as possible, as fast as possible. Get first, create a good momentum. Yeah, also with your operators, because I think if you try to digitize too many processes or all the processes in really short time, then the chances that you fell over your own feet or that you lose your operators during the journey is really, really high. But if you take the operators with you, if you tell them, look, this is how you can create your own applications, then they're not afraid anymore of digitization on one hand, and on the other hand, they start to put their knowledge, their valuable process knowledge, into these applications. And this leads to a long-term digitization with long-term process improvements and so on. So what I would recommend is based on our experience. So what did we at DMG Mori at the beginning? We said, okay, we need to use this valuable knowledge of our operators. So we did a small workshop, only 3 days of workshop. We explained them what Tulip is. We showed them all the different functions and how to create their first apps. And then we told them, okay, you are going to create the applications on your own for your processes because you know them much better than we do it. And we will just, we will just guide you sometimes a bit, show you how to solve your problems, maybe also take care of this interfaces to the ERP system, but you are building these applications. So, and after this 1 week of training in some, we had 30 apps which we started immediately to use in our processes, yeah, because these operators know where the points are to start, where opportunities are. And this is what I would recommend to our customers. It's Tulip is, you can test it. You can test it for free for 1 or 2 months. I would recommend to start with a small workshop together with the DMG Mori Digital if you want. We will teach you how to use Tulip, and then you just start to use the applications, use it really in your processes for this 1 or 2 months, and see the value that these Tulip applications create to you, because you will see it really fast, that the time to value is so short. And then after 2 months, then you have a lot of more ideas where to use Tulip, and then you can roll it out everywhere. And the good thing is that you have the, let's say, app experts. You have it already in your company. Yeah? These are your operators, which we trained during the small workshop, and they can roll out the digitization and push it, and then like couple of months, couple of years. Yeah, this is how I would start based on what on our experiences.
Yeah, it kind of like ties nicely into the idea of openness and flexibility to not make it a massive project and to start small, prove that it works, and figure it out yourself what digitization means to anyone.
Right, and this is what our customers are most afraid of huge, big projects like the ERP, new ERP version introduction. And if you use Tulip, you don't have to be afraid of it, because with a couple of days, you just start. You start. It's really easy, and it's not, you don't have to invest a lot of money into big software. You just start and gain knowledge and see how it improves your processes, and then you will see that it's really really new, interesting, and amazing approach. And we are not only as DMG Mori Digital, also as DMG Mori, completely convinced that this is the right way to lead, to go into digitization, and we will see it, I think, more and more.
Yeah, I mean, this was an awesome summary. I think there's very little to add to this. Damir, thank you so much for your time, and yeah, thank you so much to answer our question. I hope you enjoyed this, and yeah, hope to see you soon on the next road trip.
Thanks. Stay safe. Thanks for your time, and yeah, hope that you enjoyed this webinar, and hope to see you soon.
Thanks.
Bye bye.